Good evening, everyone. Welcome into the Confident Autistic live stream. Put in the chat where you're watching from, please, so we kind of get an idea where viewers are coming from. And thank you for joining us tonight. It's going to be a fun evening. We're going to be doing some myth busting. So, like ghost busting, but it's myth busting. And I'm trying to find something. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm clicking on stuff and I'm trying to get somewhere that I'm not. And let's see. Is this the right one? Yeah, this is the right one. Okay, my screens look weird. That's my problem, not yours. Anyway, let's make sure we are streaming here. I should be. Let me just make sure. Yeah, we're streaming. Okay. All right, I see what's going on. Okay, we're here. Yeah. Always getting started is a little bit challenging, but that's okay. We'll make it through there. Now I'm going to switch this over from top chat to live chat. So I should see everyone's comments tonight because I was told I'm not seeing everyone's comments. And somebody told me you need to switch from top chat to live chat. And I went, oh, wow, I'll give that a try. Okay, I'm doing something really stupid right now. Okay. Let me tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to show you too, okay? I got a candy. And the last thing you should do when you're hosting a live stream, and I should know this from working in radio, is to eat when you're going to do, when you're on microphone. This is horrible. Now I have it open and I don't know what I'm going to do. I got to put back in the baggie here. Yeah. Later, my friend, later. I love crunches. That's my exercise program. I do a couple of crunches a day. I'm in shape. Okay. So now that we got that out of the way, that's for my friend Tony, because of the fact that he always says I should exercise. I tell him I do. I have a couple of crunches every single day. I do them. All right, let me get over to where I need to be so we can start this. I have a question for you. Found my ball. Have you ever heard someone say something about autism and thought, wait, that's not my experience at all? For many autistic adults like you and me, especially those discovering autism later in life, once again, that's you and me, one of the hardest parts isn't just understanding ourselves, it's unlearning decades of myths and stereotypes that never actually described us. Tonight, tonight is a big night, it's a wonderful night. Tonight, we are going to do something very interesting here. It's very fascinating here. That's what I want. We are going to dive into some autism myths and bust them right open and replace those with facts. So that's going to be what we're up to tonight. Tonight we are breaking down some of the most common autism myths and talking about why they can be frustrating for late diagnosed autistic adults like you and me. So, hey, my fellow confident autistics. I am the confident autistic. You can call me Chris. On this channel, I create videos and more that will help you better understand autism, connect you with resources that can help you through your autistic journey, and I share my life as a late diagnosed autistic adult. And this is the Confident Autistic live stream. And this is the kind of content you're looking for. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Now, the Confident Autistic live stream is a weekly live stream where I interact with you. Yes, you over there, over in the corner, hiding out. I know, I see you over there. No, I don't. Don't worry, I don't have that power. Okay. I interact with you and other adults on a late autism journey. And tonight, together, we're going to build a top 10 plus list of myths about autism that autistic adults find annoying and find the truth that's actually behind them. So while we're going through this tonight, first of all, let me know where you're watching from, and I'll be checking in the chat off and on. And you have a myth that you've heard of? Feel free to drop it into the chat. Maybe other people have heard about it. Maybe I'll mention it. I'll give you a shout out. I'm a giving guy. Okay, I don't know why. I just have a lot of energy tonight. Okay, let's get back to this. But first, if you're new here, this is a safe space, a judgment free zone where we can better understand ourselves and each other and start living confidently autistic. Therefore, please be respectful for one another. I do not like people tearing down other people. Had somebody do that on my Facebook page today, and I had to delete that post, or delete that comment, I should say. You know, you can disagree. I have no problem with that. But when you start attacking people and putting people down, that's where there's a line, and we won't cross that on this channel. I will not let that happen, okay? But now let's take a look at our subscriber count. Last week, I believe it was at 374. I forgot to look before I went on the air tonight, but that's okay. It's at 378 subscribers now. Now, in true transparency, we did reach 380, I think Monday or Tuesday, and then we lost a couple, and I don't know what happened to them. I guess I should be better at keeping track of people. I don't know. Anyway, they left, but we're at 378, and I'm very grateful for each and every one of you who have chosen to subscribe to this channel, and I give you a very, very big thank you for subscribing. It means a lot to me, okay? It truly does. And you can help me grow our channel. This is my channel, okay? Yes, my name's on it, my picture's on it, all that other, I do the work behind it. But I look at it as our channel. It's a channel for us who are late diagnosed autistic adults. And you, yes, you, can help us grow this channel. You can do that by first liking this video. It takes a split second to tap on that like button. Bing, bada bing, bada boom. It's done. And you're supporting the channel. You're helping it grow. You can share this video with somebody who needs to watch it, whether you're watching live or watching it in recording. Share this with your friends. Help people know, because you probably know somebody who needs to hear what I'm going to be delivering tonight. Comment. Oh, please comment, because otherwise I feel like I'm all alone, and I don't, and loneliness sucks. Okay, so leave a comment. Okay, let me know what you think of the video. You have a myth that you've heard of. Put that in the chat. You like the video, what you like about it, put that in there. If there's something I could do better, let me know. I'm open to those ideas. But the biggest way you can help the channel grow, if you have not already, and that is to subscribe to the channel. Because this is the place you can come to. That on Mondays we do videos that will educate you on autism. And now during the fall, we're going to be having podcast episodes drop on Tuesday. And we do live stream Thursday nights. And Fridays, I do a video where I just talk about my life on the spectrum and what I'm going through. So please consider subscribing and help us reach our goal of 1,000. Our more realistic goal is by Labor Day to reach 500 subscribers. Think that's going to be a little bit of a pull, but we're going to still shoot for that goal. I'm not going to adjust that goal. We're going to try. And if we don't make it, we're going to give it a good chance at doing it, okay? So please help me grow this channel. Help us grow this channel. And I would greatly appreciate that. Now, I have a special gift for you, and it's called Live Confidently Autistic, a guide to understanding yourself and building confidence. This is free. It's a free PDF. Yes, it's free. You can put that on your credit card. In this PDF, you'll embrace your neurodivergence with pride, overcome self-doubt, and build lasting confidence. And you will navigate or discover how you can navigate life as, or navigate life authentically, that is, and unapologetically as your confident autistic self. So you can grab your copy at by using the QR code that's on the screen, by scanning it with your phone, or by clicking in the link I'm putting into the chat right now. Speaking of the chat, we have something in the chat. So let me take a quick look at that. And Autistic Jenny is here. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. I really am. You may have seen that, Jenny. You may have seen this. Others, this makes sense. I loved your most recent video about being an autistic person and a creator on YouTube. Wonderful video. I shared it in the community on here. If you want to share that link in the chat, Jenny, go ahead. Love that video. Really did. I left two comments on there. I think you read them. I think you already hearted them or whatever. I think you've acknowledged that I said something, but yeah. Uh, yeah, and I took your advice and I did turn on live chat, so now I get to actually see your comments. Thank you for that tip, by the way. So yeah, love that video. I recommend anyone who's watching, who's thinking, I'm autistic, I want to start a YouTube channel. Jenny did a great job of giving you a realistic look at what it is and helps you set your expectations. It's a wonderful video. So please check that video out. It's well worth it. And I just cannot say enough about it. In fact, I'm probably going to start a playlist of recommended videos, and I'm going to put that into my recommended video playlist and share that with you guys, because that's something every person should have. That's autistic should actually see this video. Okay, let's see what else is coming in the chat. Thank you. Awesome. And good evening. And good evening to you, Vance. Thank you for joining us tonight. Okay, let's get into tonight's topic, which is up on the screen. 10 myths about autism that autistic adults find annoying and the truth behind them. The truth behind them. All right, so let's get into this here, okay? So I'm going to share the 10 that I have, and you're welcome to share in the chat any myths you heard of that maybe I don't have on the list, and I'll take a look at those. And the other thing is, while we're going through this list tonight, I want you to try to remember each of them. I know there's a lot, there's 10, and see which one of these myths has bothered you the most, or that you used to believe. Better way of putting it, which one of these myths did you used to think was true until you started learning more about autism? Okay, so let's get started on this list here and get this knocked out so we can get a few hours closer to my favorite day of the week, Friday, which is pizza night around here. Myth number one: autism only affects children. Now, why is this annoying? Because many autistic adults spent decades struggling without understanding why. Okay? Autism does not only affect children, okay? The truth is, let's look at the truth. Autism is a lifelong condition, or I don't know if condition is the right word, but a lifelong, it's with you lifelong. Let's just say it that way. Children with autism grow into autistic adults, okay? And many adults, like myself, and I think many who are watching this channel, were missed being diagnosed as autistic when we were younger because for many reasons. One, we have a better understanding of autism than we did back then, and a lot of diagnosis is based upon stereotypes back in the 70s and 80s, back in my day. So many adults are missed, not just because of that, but because they learned to mask. Okay, as I continue my second year after my diagnosis, I'm becoming more aware of when I'm masking. I think that's common for people who on the spectrum get late diagnosis. We become more aware of what we're doing because we understand it better. And this includes older generations, which I used to hate this idea, but now, I'm 60. Okay, I'm 60. I'm going to own that. I'm 60, and I'm like, you know what? Not everyone makes it to 60. So I'm actually happy, okay? And I'm at the age that I don't give a flying fig if people disagree with me or don't like me. And, it used to be, I really want to be liked and all, and all. And, very sensitive to rejection. And now I, I'm 60. I don't care anymore about that. So, that was something Jenny addressed in her video that you do that can happen. You get negative comments on your channel, and I agree with Jenny. I get 99% positive on the channel. I've had a few, not really negative. I've had people trying to spam the channel, and I got rid of those ads and blocked those people. But yeah, older generations feel or have fewer opportunities for evaluation. That is so true because we did not know as much about autism as we do today, back in the 70s and 80s. And a late diagnosis can bring both relief and grief. I've talked about this in other videos, but it's true. I am very relieved to know that there's nothing really wrong with me and that it's autism and understanding it. But I also grieve that nobody knew this for most of my life and I went through without a diagnosis. I mentioned in other videos, I have a great nephew who is on the spectrum, and he's 8, and he's getting the support that he needs at that age. And I grieve the fact that I didn't get that at that age. I'm very happy for him, but I grieve that. I don't know if you have a similar situation or not. If you do, let me know in the chat. But I grieve and wonder what my life would have been like if I would have gotten the support and understanding that I needed when I was a kid, like he's getting now. That's just one of my things going on in my life. All right, myth number 2. Everyone with autism is a genius or has a special talents. Now, why is this myth annoying? It creates unrealistic expectations. The truth is, autistic people have a wide range of abilities, strengths, challenges, and interests. Now, let's get back to the myth here for a moment. Everyone with autism is a genius or has a special talent. I could show you my report cards, and I was nowhere near the word genius. In fact, I don't think I could spell the word genius until probably junior high or later. Okay, spelling was not my strong point. So I can attest to the fact I'm not a genius. And many of us have special interests. And I think for some of us, some of us are more intense into our special interests than others. And some of us don't have special interests. It's not like, well, I can't be autistic. I don't have a special interest. You can still be autistic and not have a special interest. It kind of works that way. Now, let me take a peek over here and see. I'm going to check the chat here. Give me 1 second here. I got to get over to the screen. And, oh, there we are. Okay. By the time we find out we are autistic, we are likely in burnout. I agree with that. I do. Because we've been trying to figure out what the heck's going on. We're trying to and I use this analogy. I came up with it the other day while I was shooting a video, and I love it. Neurotypical people use a different measuring stick than we do. Because most people are neurotypical, they use the metric system. We use the imperial system. We autistics do. That's the inches, the feet, the miles, etc. And the problem I see that I have, and I bet others have the same issue, we keep measuring ourselves with the wrong measuring yardstick. We're using the yardstick that neurotypical people use. Okay, the metric system when we should be measuring ourselves on our own system, the imperial system. And because we've been doing that for so many years, that I think can contribute to burnout. I don't know for sure. That's my theory. I'm sticking to it. Let's see what else we have in the chat. Um, You are aging well. I had no idea. Thank you. That may have made my evening, Jenny. Thank you very much. And I'm not just saying this to repay the compliment. I really mean it. When I started watching your videos before I really knew you that well, and I don't know you all that well anyway, but I mean, the first couple times, I thought you were in your late 30s, maybe early 40s. But then again, what do I know? It's just my opinion and you have a right to disagree. All right, let's take a look at myth number 3. Autism means someone is less intelligent. This is the opposite of myth number 2. But why is this so annoying for us on the spectrum? Because it's a huge misconception. Okay? The truth is this: autism and intelligence are separate. Some people can be geniuses. Some people can be morons. Some people are somewhere in between. It, intelligence, genius intelligence level or lack of intelligence does not indicate that you're on the spectrum, because we have people in all ranges of intellect on the spectrum. That's why it's called a spectrum. Okay. Autistic people can be highly intelligent. Okay. They can. Or they could be kind of slow, whatever, we come in all sizes, shapes, colors, and range. That's why it's a spectrum. I said that earlier, but I'm going to say it again. Autistic people can have intellectual disabilities, which I don't think all that uncommon. I don't think it's common to the point where, oh, if I don't have an intellectual disability, I cannot be autistic. No, no. But I do think this is my own opinion, I've not done any research on this, that there is more people who have intellectual disabilities who are, or at least perceive that way. Because I would think that way before I knew I was autistic, because I thought there's something wrong with my mind. Now that I know I'm autistic, I don't think I have an intellectual disability anymore. I just know that I'm wired differently. So autistic people can be highly intelligent, and autistic people can also have intellectual disabilities. Neither defines someone's worth or if you're on the spectrum or not. That's an important thing to remember. Myth number 4, autistic people don't have empathy. Now, why is this myth so annoying? Because this one hurts, okay? The truth is, many autistic people experience deep emotion, empathy that is, but may express it differently. I remember when I was young, yes, I do still have a good active memory, that my grandfather on my dad's side passed away, and I didn't cry. Now, in that case, it may have been because I only saw my grandpa 2 or 3 times in my life, so I really did not know him all that well. But my dad got pretty mad at me for not crying. And as I grown through life, with the exception of the passing of my wife, most of the time when somebody passes away, and I know if you're neurotypical, this is going to sound insensitive, and maybe if you're autistic, it's going to sound insensitive, but it's just who I am. I would say, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear about their loss." Pause for about 3 seconds. So, what do you want for dinner? You know, that was my greeting sound. Now, my wife is totally different, but you know, we do feel empathetic. Now, for some of us, um, or some people say because we have difficulty reading social cues equals lack or does not equal. Well, the point is this. I'm reading it wrong. Let me do it here again. Difficulty in reading social cues does not mean there's a lack of caring. Okay. Um, I know at times I don't want to share that I care about something because I I I don't know. I don't want to be made fun of or anything and look weird. But yeah, I do have difficulty reading social cues. And if you do that, you are not showing a lack of caring. We don't read social cues. I sure as heck, do not read social cues. Some autistic adults actually experience emotions intensely or differently. Okay. Some of us get very upset about certain things, and we get called out on that or whatever. But yeah, that is a reality within our community. An emotional overload can sometimes make expression difficult. Yeah, one of the things we talk about in the channel is emotional dysregulation and all. And when our emotions are not regulated well or they're being overloaded, we're not going to be able to express how we feel easily. It's going to be different because our emotions are all out of whack. Let's go on to myth number 5. Let's see if I do a better job on this one. Okay. If you can make eye contact, you can't be autistic. Now, why is this annoying? It is, especially for late diagnosed autistic adults. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. I really thought to be autistic, you did not like eye contact. Because I don't like eye contact. I hate it. It drives me up a wall. Okay. My great nephew, who I mentioned earlier, who's on the spectrum, when he talks to me, he makes eye contact, and I think he expects that back from me. So even though it's uncomfortable for me, and I don't think he'll understand at his age yet, I do try to make eye contact with him, and I'll do that for him. But otherwise, yeah, I always thought autistic people, none of us like making eye contact. Then my nephew, who's on the spectrum, likes eye contact. I went, okay, that's a myth that I had busted because of my nephew. And I want to thank him for that. Oh, my great nephew, that is. The truth is, eye contact varies. Some of us are okay with it. Some of us may be okay with eye contact sometimes, and sometimes we're not. Some of us do not like it at all. I do not like it at all. I hate eye contact. I drive me up a wall. And what I do when I do a Zoom interview, I can fake eye contact real well because I just look at the screen. I'm not really in the same room with the person, so I look at the screen, and I probably come across making eye contact when I'm just looking at the pretty pictures on the screen. That's just me, though. Uh, so the truth is, eye contact varies, and this is because some of us, uh, some autistic people, force eye contact through masking because we know it's expected by the neurotypicals. So that's masking. We're going to do eye contact because it's expected, even though I hate it. I'm going to do it. I'm being uncomfortable, so I fit in. Okay. Some of us learn social rules that when you talk to somebody, you should make good eye contact. Okay. But yet some find eye contact uncomfortable, but do it anyway. And that's me with my nephew. I find it uncomfortable. I do it with him anyway. And I do at times try to make eye. I look in the general direction, but I'm really not looking at somebody's eyes because that really creeps me out. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Anyway, let me check the chat before we go on to number six. Ooh, the chat's pretty busy tonight. This is good. Let's see. By the way, most of my college books are likely researched and written by autistics. Oh, cool. Uh, Vance is from Kentucky. Welcome. I've been to Kentucky once. I went to Fort Knox and went there with a Boy Scout troop on a trip. We took a bus and went there, drove there overnight, drove back the next night. More time on the bus than actually in Fort Knox. And I'll tell you something. They don't let you get free samples of the gold that's kept there. Okay, they don't. And we got there. This is Fort Knox. You can't go in there and see the gold. Here's something to eat. Get on the bus and go home. That was basically the entire trip. Okay, that was it. Let's see. If someone is sitting beside me, I can't stand the feeling of being looked at. Or if someone is across the room looking at me, I don't like to look back at them in that moment. Oh, I don't either. I hate it. I hate going to doctor appointments, waiting rooms, and there's other people in that room. I don't know where to look. I think people looking at me. It's like, is he making eye contact? What do they expect from me? I hate waiting rooms, okay? And I hate buses and all. What helps me is I have my headphones on with my music that helps me stay regulated. That's what I do, and I try not to make eye contact. I play with my phone a lot too, so I'm looking at something else. I mean, I have my phone in my hand. I'm looking at it. I'm watching a video, whatever. Then I have a reason not to make eye contact with people, and if people are looking at me, I'm hiding behind my phone. Okay, let's see what else we have in the chat, and then we'll get back to this list. I enjoy looking at the scenery in different locations. Alabama is special distinctive landscape. Yeah, I have family in Alabama, near Huntsville. Yeah, I have a my sister-in-law on my wife's side lives there. Never been to Alabama. Never been. Every time I hear Alabama, I think of the movie My Cousin Vinny, and I'm not going to say the line, but if you've seen that movie, you know that they turned Alabama into they added an extra syllable to that state name. Okay. I've been to Kentucky, to the Ark. Okay, fine. I loved it. Okay. Increased sensory sensitivity can lead us to be more sensitive to being watched. It's like feeling the other person's feelings. Interesting. Never thought of it that way, but that's a really good point, Vance. And let's see. It's a great reason to stare at a cell phone during that time. And you like that? Yeah. Yeah, these little pieces of technology, they are a blessing. I mean, they are. I mean, I cannot even begin to tell you how much they're a blessing for me. Okay, let's get back to the list. We're halfway done right now, so let's just keep this train moving. Autism looks the same in everyone. Now, why is this annoying? This is probably annoying because it's one of the biggest barriers to diagnosis. Because we know somebody who's autistic, okay? Oh, we may. And let's say we're at the point in our life where this starting to think we may be on the spectrum. and you know somebody who's autistic, and you think, well, I don't do that. I can't be on the spectrum. And that's because you're going with that myth that autism looks the same in everyone. It doesn't. Remember, that's why it's called a spectrum. And that is the truth. Autism is a spectrum. Each person that's on the spectrum has different support needs. Where for me, some of my support needs is um, I have problems with anxiety. I have trouble communicating or expressing how I feel. I get fearful in medical procedures. I get overwhelmed in conversations. So my wife helped me with that. Now, other people may have other different support needs. There's not a one size fits all to autism. One of my favorite quotes I heard about autism when I first started exploring it was, when you met one person with autism, you have met one person with autism. And that is true. Each one of us on the spectrum has a different personality. I have a lot of energy, okay? Because I also have ADHD. And the reason I get really hyper, not just the ADHD, it is I'm going to tell you a secret about myself right now. I don't think I've ever shared this, but I get this goofy and energetic. It's my way to help me be regulated and be calm. Because I don't know, I just, if I'm goofing around a lot, then I get less self-conscious about what's going on around me. It's part of my masking system, I guess. But yeah, we all have different personalities, okay? We all have different presentations and how we present ourselves and how we interact with people, just like everybody else. Everyone is different on this planet. And we all had different life experiences. We all have. And I mean, we're looking at the chat here. I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, lived in California. Now I'm back in Missouri. We have people who are living in Kentucky, who are living maybe in Alabama, Georgia, wherever, different parts of the country. Where you live does give you a different experience. I mean, the thing that was really is interesting to people. When I told them I'm going to move to California, everyone thinks California is Disneyland, and it's not. It's just as expensive as Disneyland, but it's not Disneyland. And oh, you're going to be near LA, you're going to be near Disneyland. And what is popular in California might not be popular here in Missouri. Okay, because it's different cultures. We have so many different cultures in our country, and that gives us different life experiences. Now, this is my favorite number. If you ever ask me to pick a number between 1 and 10, the odds are I'll pick number 7. I love the number 7. That's my favorite number. Autism is caused by bad parenting or vaccines. Now, the reason I added this to the list, even though this channel is more for late diagnosed autistic adults, if you're sitting there thinking, well, I'm autistic, my parents were bad parenting. I don't know if your parents were good parents or bad parents. Okay, I really don't. But it's unfair to just blindly blame your parents while you're on the spectrum, okay? Or because of a vaccine or lack thereof. I do not care what certain people who are in positions of authority say. I listen to medical doctors and researchers on this. I don't listen to any political talking head or anyone that's in power that is not an expert in the field. I saw this meme, and I wish I had a copy of it, but I'm going to tell it to you, during COVID. And a lot of people were debating, do we listen to the CDC or do we listen to the government, right? And and the picture was on Gilligan's Island, and they said even on Gilligan's Island, everyone knew to listen to the professor and not the millionaire. And that's what I do. I listen to those who have the credentials to be telling me facts. And the facts that I'm hearing from people with credentials is autism is not caused by vaccines or bad parenting. This is hurtful because it has caused decades of misinformation and stigma. Because I am everyone knows I'm on the spectrum that knows me, okay? Pretty much, or they should because I'm very open about it, okay? I wear autism shirts and stuff like that. I have the channel, yada yada yada. Except my mom. I've not told my mom because I don't want her, because of her generation, would maybe blame herself for it because her generation may have the impression that it was because of bad parenting and all, and it's not. So I don't even discuss it with my mom, but but because we've had this myth that is caused by bad parenting of vaccines, there's a lot of people who are parents who blame themselves. And if your parent is kind of blaming themselves because they find out you're autistic, tell them that they need to stop that. That's not good for them, okay? And if you are sitting there thinking, I'm autistic, if my parents were not great parents, that's wrong. You can't blame your parents for who we are in life. The truth is, autism is a neurodevelopmental difference. Parents do not cause autism. Autistic adults were autistic before diagnosis. You don't. I had this person that wanted to work with me, and I declined to work with them for many reasons, but this is one of them. You know, he'd known me for a while, and I shared on social media, wherever, that I'd been diagnosed with autism. So he called me and left me voicemail. I hate talking to people on the phone. Leave me voicemail, and I'll get back to you if I want to. Anyway, and he said, "So I see you're now autistic," and it's like, no, I've always been autistic. Now I know I am. That's the difference. We don't just become autistic at the age, in my case, 58. I was autistic all my life. I just did not know it. At 58, I now knew I was autistic, but I've been autistic all my life. And the diagnosis of autism gives understanding that the diagnosis of autism gives understanding. It does not create autism. Okay, so you get diagnosed with autism. It's not like, okay, great. Now I'm going to start becoming more autistic or whatever. You might think that because you're more aware and you understand, you might start saying, oh, wow, I'm masking. Well, you've been doing that all your life. Now you're aware of it. Okay, so the diagnosis gives you understanding. It does not create autism. Like a diagnosis of cancer, it does often come with cancer progressing. But a diagnosis of autism does not make your autism worse or any better. It gives you an understanding. And sometimes that understanding will appear that, oh, wow, I never noticed that about myself. I must really be on the spectrum. All right, let's see what's going on in the chat. The chat's been great tonight, and I'm excited about this, man. And turning it to live chat, thank you so much for this suggestion. This is making it great. Okay, let's see. I've been diagnosed with ADHD, but I always have to be doing something. Um, yeah, for me, that's the weird thing for me because talking about myths here, okay? You think somebody who's autistic gets laser focused and a perfectionist. And I was reading up on this a little bit earlier. Let me see if I can get this over there. Yeah, I was reading up on this a little bit earlier. And although that's true for some are not like, well, this is good enough. That's me because I cannot focus long on something because I bounce around a lot. And this is common in the ADHD community. I have squirrel moments. I really do. I do. And it's like I cannot focus. And it's like I can't. And that was one thing went through my mind. I can't be autistic. I don't sit still. I'm too wired. I'm too bouncy. And it's like I bought into one of the myths, and I found out that was a myth. Let's see what else we have in here. Um, let's see. Consider that we are trying to processing more information in the same amount of time as neurotypicals process a small amount of information. Good analogy. I like that. Okay, let's see. You may be seeing the world in Ultra HD, and the average person is seeing 16-bit graphics. Same hardware. Yeah. That's it. And now, if you're a computer geek, you know what he's talking about there. Okay. I used to work in computers, in the sense of working at a college in computer labs and all, and helping students with that, and worked as tech support for an internet company, a small internet company back in the day. So that makes some sense to me. But now I now call customer support. I call support more because I things have changed in the last 30 years since I've been in the industry. Let's see. Those were from Vance. Thank you, Vance, for your comments. True, true, Vance. It truly impacts my life. Slow processing is why I'm fearful of doing a live stream. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Yeah. Now, I'm not fearful of doing live streams. I'm not trying to say I'm better than you. Okay. I'm just, because this is a perfect example. Autistic Jenny is on the spectrum and she's afraid of doing live streams, which is fine. No judgment here. I am on the spectrum and I love doing these live streams. But then again, when I was young, I wanted to work in radio and I have worked in radio. So this is like second nature to me. There is a saying, and I want to share this. There's a study that's been done that says people are more afraid of public speaking than of dying. Okay, they are more afraid of that, and I can wrap my head around why somebody is afraid of public speaking. I just don't. I cannot relate to it personally because, like, give me a crowd and a microphone, and I am a happy camper. I love it. Okay. Um, Great analogy. I love Gilligan's Island. Yeah, there was a song, but and I love Weird Al Yankovic. Okay, I'm a big Weird Al fan. I like the novelty song. There's a song he did called "The Isle Thing," which is kind of a I can't remember what it's a parody of the original song. If you know it, put it in the chat. And one of the lines in there about the professor, he can make a radio out of a coconut, but if he's so fly, then tell me why he couldn't build a lousy raft and get him off the island. I don't know. But I love that. I used to watch that every afternoon when I came home from school on, I think it was Channel 11 in St. Louis. Might have been 30, but I think it was 11. But you really don't care, do you? I figured not. Okay, I'm not. I got to go. Very nice chatting with you both. Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Jenny, for stopping by. I wish I caught that earlier. Great topic. Have enjoyed, Chris. Thank you. And Vance, good night to Jenny. Awesome. If Jenny is still here, I need to get a hold of you because I have something I would like to talk to you about. It's a good thing. I was really inspired by your video, but I'll get to that later. Let's get back to the list, okay? And if anyone else is here, it's not just a chat room for Jenny and Vance and myself. Feel free to join the conversation. Let me know where you're watching from. Let's move on to myth number 8. Autistic people don't want friends or relationships. That is BS, okay? Why is this annoying? Not just because it's BS. Many autistic adults deeply desire connections. I know I do, okay? But they are so complicated to me and complex. So I resign at my age. I resign myself. I'm not going to try making friends anymore. It's too complicated. I got a few. I'm fine. People like me, want to be friends. That's super. But if they don't, that's fine with me too. I'm okay. In fact, I prefer to be alone. To be honest, the truth is, many autistic people want relationships, but may experience challenges, and these challenges include communication styles. We all communicate differently, and I communicate, and this is how I interact with the world. I communicate in more of a comedic way because I love morning radio and I love comedy. And how get myself prepared to interact with someone is like like David Letterman or someone like that doing a man on the street segment or whatever. And I interact with people as if I was doing that man in the street interview. And that helps me relax and communicate. And some people can handle that, and some people it freaks out, and that's fine. But yeah, we do have that's one of the challenges. Communication styles can be different. Social exhaustion. I think we can all relate to that one. Sensory environments. Maybe it's hard to make friends. Like when I was younger and I wanted to get a wife, right? I wanted to get married because I wanted to share my life with somebody. And, stereotypically, you think, where do you meet women? At a bar. I don't, well, first, I don't drink. Okay. I'm not judging anyone who does, but because of a history of alcoholism in my family and my dad's side, I decided not to drink because I don't want to go down that route. Okay. And the bars are noisy and all, and the social cues and all this other stuff. So, yeah, that sensory environment was not going to be a good place for me to meet somebody. So, I don't know if I ever told this story, and I'm not going to tell it now. Maybe I'll do it in a video on the Autistic Journal. Uh, how I met my wife, but we met online. It's a really fun story, and I'll share it sometime. Okay, and of course, misunderstandings. Misunderstandings happen between people, sometimes because we take things literally, whatever. Um, and then that makes developing or maintaining friendships challenging for us. And this is a great moment for me to mention that wanting connections, but struggling with the way society expects connections to happen. I swear there's some hidden code that people who are neurotypical know on how to make friendships. I have no clue on how to start a friendship. None whatsoever. I have some friendships, and I'm very happy that I do. I have no idea how I started them or how they started or they started it and I follow them. I have no idea how it happened. To me, the development, the development, I want to put in the blooper reel. The development of a friendship is magical. I have no idea how it's done. I don't know how to do it. I just don't. All right, let's go to myth number 9. You don't look autistic. Now I've seen some shirts and memes on this too, and it's funny, but I don't know if I would wear one of these in public. You don't look autistic. Funny, you don't look stupid either, but here we are. you know, this one I think really annoys people a lot. It's probably one of the most common phrases autistic adults hear. You don't look autistic. The truth is, autistic or autism is not visible. It's not like seeing somebody who um, I'm not making fun of anyone. This is an analogy. Like somebody who's missing a fingers on their hand, or was born without an arm. It's not. It's more of an invisible disability. You cannot see it. There's no look to being autistic. There's not the autistic look. No, there isn't. Because there's no particular autism appearance. Now, like everybody who's autistic must wear blue or whatever, There's no dress code like that. Nothing. Each of us is just regular people. Many adults have spent years adapting and masking, and this is why we don't really have our own look. We learned how to blend in. In a way, just this just came to my mind. I love this idea. In a way, when you're autistic and you're masking, you're a chameleon. A chameleon. I can't say that word. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, yeah. So we spent so many years adapting and masking. You can't notice unless we tell you. And when we tell you, some people are like, no, you can't be autistic. You don't look it. Well, autism can be insight. For me, it has a lot to do with processing and taking things literally, things you cannot see when you visually see me, but are going on internally. And what people see when we autistic people go out in the world is often the result of effort and hard work we do to blend in each and every day to with the neurotypical society that we're surrounded by all the time. Let's see what's going on here. The average person doesn't like public speaking because of the fear of being negatively judged by their social peers. Very true. That's very true, Vance. Yeah, that's the average reason. I don't know. I'm a weird duck. I love public speaking, man. I love that. I used to go and do public speaking, but I won't do that anymore. Um, because my wife's not with me, and I just at this point in my life, I just cannot travel without her. I miss her too much. Anyway, let's get on to number 10. We're almost done with this list. Isn't that amazing? And there we are. A diagnosis changes who you are. This is another one of those myths. Now, why is this myth annoying? Because it's especially powerful for your late autistic journey. For you guys, it's very powerful because a diagnosis, a lot of people say it changes us. No, it doesn't. The truth is, a diagnosis gives us language to experiences that already existed. Now that I know I'm autistic, I can look back at some of the things that I experienced or I did as a child through wearing what you could call autistic glasses, the autistic lens, an autistic eye, and say, Oh, I wasn't a misbehaving child that had a bad temper problem as much as there was an underlying reason. I did not realize that I was masking a lot when I was a kid. I did better in school when I was in a classroom with 8 or less kids in it. When you got me in classrooms that had double digits, and which most had 20 to 30, that's where I acted out the most because I just do not like that sensory input, that too many people around me. I don't go to crowds and events unless if my wife was with me or if I'm speaking there and I know exactly what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. Otherwise, it's just too much for me. But yeah, and a diagnosis does not change us. It just gives us a language to the experiences that we already existed or experienced. Remember, you and we were autistic before we were diagnosed. Okay, my great nephew was autistic before he was diagnosed at the age of 4. Okay, every one of us was autistic before our diagnosis. What the diagnosis can do is explain our past to us, and it can help us build a better future. Excuse me. Now, did I leave any myths out? Put them in the chat, and we'll talk about them. And tonight, I have a little surprise for you guys. At this point, we normally would wrap it up. But wait, I have 5 more myths that we're going to bust, and we're going to go through these pretty quickly because I know we're getting late. All right, myth number 11. Autistic people cannot communicate. Truth is, many of us communicate differently. Okay, I'm very fortunate and blessed that I can communicate verbally. Okay, some of us have to use alternative methods to communicate. Maybe that's through an app or a tablet or whatever. It's it's it, we it's this we can't communicate. We just find different ways to communicate. Myth number 12, autism is something you grow out of. Okay, we can all collectively laugh because the truth is support needs and coping strategies may change, but autism is lifelong. It does not go away with it. It does not, there's no cure for it, which I can be honest. If somebody told me tomorrow we can cure your autism, you'll be neurotypical, I would say, heck no. I think that would scare the pants off of me. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. What about you? Myth number 13. Everyone who self-identifies as autistic is just seeking attention. Now that's bull, okay? Truth is, many people are exploring if they are on the spectrum and self-identifying because traditional systems have failed to recognize their experience. Also because getting an assessment is hard to do. There are not that many people who are qualified to assess and diagnose adults. And the process can take many years to get to that. And some insurance will not cover it. So some people in our generation are saying, I'm just going to self-identify as autistic because there's no benefit to me. I don't need to have that documentation from my job. I don't need that. I, I, I don't have the money for it, whatever. So self-identifying, I'm okay with. And in my opinion, there's a difference between self-identifying and self-diagnosis. Self-identifying is yes, I identify as somebody who's autistic, okay, and that's my identity. When I say, well, I'm autistic because I diagnosed myself. You know, unless you're a doctor, you're not a doctor to do that. So I'm okay with self-identifying. I'm always been a little bit uncomfortable wherever it is in the medical field or even mental health field for people to self-diagnose because that can be very dangerous. But self-identifying, I'm okay with. Myth number 14. Masking means you aren't really autistic. The truth is, masking often hides struggles rather than proving they don't exist. We mask, this is my opinion. We mask so we can fit in, so we can be accepted and all. And that's why we mask. It's not because we're not autistic. We are. but we know that society does not fully understand autism, and we can get weird looks, experiences, weird reactions. So, since many of us are sensitive to negative feedback, we mask so we can survive. And the 15th myth I want to share with you: autism is a disability or a difference. It can't be both. Truth is, many autistic adults experience both. It is a difference. It's a different operating system. I've heard of the analogy. It's like everyone else is running on what's an iPhone operating system. I don't know what they call it, and we're running on an Android or vice versa. And so it is a different experience, but it's also a disability. And the way it's a disability is when certain states do consider it part of the ADA. I think it should be personally, but it can be a disability to me when I want to, let's say, go to a job interview. You got to make eye contact. That's a good thing to do at a job interview. I hate eye contact. Therefore, that autism is now putting me at a disadvantage for a job. Okay, it can also be a disability when you take things literally. Now, it can also be a blessing. This is hand to God, as Letterman would say, true story. Many years ago, it was in the 1980s, and way before I knew I was on the spectrum, I was summoned to jury duty. And I know everyone wants to get out of jury duty. Most people do. I was okay with it. I went, you know what? I'm fine with it. I can handle it. It was summer. I had time off between college. I wasn't doing much. I thought, oh, a few extra bucks would be nice. I'm cool. So I go in there. I get selected and all. And the lawyers do their pre-questions of the potential jurors. And this lawyer asked me a question. I cannot remember what he asked me. And he was on my left side and the judge was on my right. And I looked towards the judge because I didn't know if I could talk directly to the attorney or if I talk to the judge. I don't know courtroom etiquette. Well, I know basic. We don't cuss in there. You don't wear a baseball hat and you dress appropriately. But I didn't know who I could talk to. I looked at the judge and I said, did he mean A, which was one way of interpreting it, or B, another way of interpreting it? The lawyer looked at me and said, he's excused. And he was excusing me because he looked at me. This is my interpretation of it, and thought he's going to overanalyze everything, and this might not be good for my client. We need to get somebody who actually thinks. We can't have that on a jury. So, anyway, yeah, sometimes our autism could be a blessing for us. Okay, let's see if there's anything else in chat before we wrap this up tonight and tell you what's coming up next week. Let's see. We did that one. Yes. Neurodivergent individuals find a way to manage social situations, mimicking others, reading the room, and becoming a social chameleon. I think I pronounced it right. Hey, I got it. I knew I could do that. Yeah. You're very thorough as usual. Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. And that's one thing I kind of read about, that some of us on the spectrum over explain things, and I may be in that category. And I'm okay with that. I like me for who I am. So that's our top 15. Which one have you heard that you believed until you figured out or were diagnosed with autism? I'd love to hear what that is. I'm gonna go through these slides real quickly here. Let's see. Whoops, back. Let's see. All right, I'm trying not to make you dizzy. What did I just? Yeah, I want to do this. Let's see. Autism can only affect children. Everyone with autism, the genius. Um, I actually thought I'm going to go with number one here. Autism only affects children. A little bit different. I thought the only people who could be diagnosed with autism were children, and once you got to a certain age, you couldn't be diagnosed. You were diagnosed when you're young, or you were not autistic. That was one thing that I used to believe, and I've learned over the years that is not true. It's just some of us, many of us, got missed because we did not know as much about autism as we do today. And let me see if there's any others in here. I kind of bought into the theory that everyone with autism is a genius or is a special talent. So that's why I thought I can't really be on the spectrum. I'm nowhere near a genius. Look at my grades, and I don't really have any special. I did not fully understand the concept of special interest, but one of my things that I really loved was there's a special talent. I don't have a special talent. I don't think I do. But a special interest. I loved television, and I would study television and radio because I wanted to work in radio. And I got to a point, I can tell by watching the TV when they were going to go to commercial break, when the commercial break was a national commercial break versus a local commercial break, and when they're going to come back to the program. It amazed the heck out of my dad. My dad said, how do you know that? I just studied it enough and knew that. I know, when they have to do legal IDs and when they have to do all of that. And I knew all of this before I went into radio and was actually, told, don't forget to do the legal ID. Anyway, autism means someone is less intelligent. You know, I have to admit, I actually bought into that one myself because when I was younger, the people that were on the spectrum I knew, remember the spectrum was much narrower then, had what we would consider level three or high support needs. So I figured, yeah, yeah, people, and I'm sorry for thinking that, but that was my thought because where society was at that time. Autistic people don't have empathy. Now, this one I believed because a lot of people say I'm not very empathetic. I talked about how quickly I work through grief at times, not for my wife, but otherwise, yeah. And then I realized I do have empathy. I just don't show it the same way neurotypical people do. And if you can read eye contact, you can't be autistic. That one never bothered me. That one never was a myth that I believed. Autism looks the same in everyone. I really did think this because most diagnoses, there's a common error. There's something common in it that if you have cancer and you're getting treatment for it, you're going to lose your hair. No, if you're getting chemo treatment for it, whatever, right? So I figured everyone has a certain look or a way about themselves. They're autistic. So I bought into that one, and I know that's wrong now. Autism is caused by bad parenting or vaccines. I never bought into that, okay? Never bought into the vaccine one. There was a time, and maybe it's still going on. A lot of people don't want to vaccinate their kids, and like, what are you, a moron? I mean, get a vaccination. They're not going to give you autism, okay? Um, and bad parenting. There are people who have bad parenting who are very successful people, and there are people who have very great parenting that are on the spectrum. So, no, I never really bought into this one. Autistic people don't want friends or relationships. I never bought into that because I've always wanted to have friends and relationships. I just don't know how to do it. Okay. Number nine, you don't look autistic. I never really even thought of that one because I never really heard that until I received my diagnosis and heard on memes and all. You don't look autistic. Well, you don't look stupid either, but here we are. Let's see. What am I? Oh, there we go. A diagnosis changes who you are. I don't think I really bought into that one that much because I knew a diagnosis. 'Cause I got diagnosed at 58. I knew a diagnosis would help me understand myself better, but a diagnosis does not change someone. And let's see, the other one, autistic people can't communicate. I know that's not true. I never bought into that because look, I'm talking. And I know people who are autistic who can talk, okay? My first couple of people I met that were on the spectrum really had level what we would call level three high support needs, and they had trouble communicating. But generally speaking, I've seen people on the spectrum even before I was diagnosed or thought I was on the spectrum who could communicate. Autism is something you grow out of. I never bought into that. Okay. Well, pretty much. Because back in my day, if you were autistic, you're more what we would call level three today, and your high support needs. You may see people on the spectrum that were kids, but they were not mainstreamed. They would just go to another school, they'd be in your neighborhood, and then as adults, you never saw them because, well, they were hidden from society, which was wrong. But so I never really gave that thought because I never really saw anyone who was on the spectrum, but I really did not know that much. So, Everyone who self-identifies autistic is just seeking attention. This is one thing I've struggled with, and I'm going to tell you why. Because when I started to self-identify as autistic, because I strongly believed that I did research and all, and all, I really thought people were going to judge me because I've heard stories of that. And I was nervous about going to my doctor to tell her I suspect I'm on the spectrum. Luckily, she said, "Oh no, you're probably on the spectrum. You should get tested." Okay, so she's like you don't know. Anyway, but I was afraid of judgment, and people think I'm wanting attention, or it's a new phase, a crave. It's not. Okay, and maybe there are some people who do claim to be autistic because they are seeking attention, and that does hurt our community. But generally speaking, I think everyone who self identifies as autistic is not seeking attention, they're seeking understanding and help. Masking means you aren't really autistic. I knew that would BS because masking is the way we survive, okay? But I can see, well, maybe see how a neurotypical may think masking means you're not really autistic. Well, you're faking it through life. You must be fine. No, no, you don't know if people faking. Okay? Faking it, mean by masking. Autism is a disability or a difference. It can't be both. No, I never bought into that one. I never did because I know that autism can be both. Now, I did not put a slide in there, and I should have. Okay, anyway, I meant to do that. I really thought he did that. Anyway, next week, we are going to be back with another live stream. First of all, thank you for everyone who joined anytime during this video. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed the lively conversation. I'm going to leave you with a few questions you can think about on your own because we are really late tonight. Um, what is the most annoying autism myth you've heard of? Put that in the comments. Which myth did you believe before learning more about autism? We kind of went through that. What do you wish people understood about autistic adults? This could be a great topic for an upcoming live stream, okay, that we could do. Maybe later on in the year. I don't know. And what autism stereotype never matched your experience? Share those in the comments, okay? And if this video resonated with you, let me do this because we don't need that. Let's do that. Excuse me. If this video resonated with you, please do me a favor. Hit that like button so more people can find this video. Share this for somebody who needs to hear this or see this as a video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel for more conversations like this. And don't forget to join us live next week for another on the Confident Autistic live stream, another episode of Ask the Confident Autistic Anything. Next week's topic is going to be about autism and aging. Your questions will be answered live. So start thinking about those. I'm going to put a post up in the community on Monday, so you can start dropping them in there. The live stream is up, is upcoming event, so you can even put them in there, and I'll take a look at those before we go live next week. So join me next Thursday night, July 30th, 2026 at 7 p.m. Central Daylight Time. So until next time, I am the Confident Autistic, and I want to remind you that we can live confidently autistic. Have a wonderful weekend. Last week I said there's going to be a video up on Friday about my biggest fear. It wasn't up last Friday. I had a little bit of a shutdown, burnout day last week, but it is going to be live tomorrow at 3 p.m. It'll be premiering. I'll be there and you can interact with me there. So thanks so much for joining. Look forward to seeing you in a future video. Hope you're a subscriber. If you're not, please do. And have an awesome weekend. Good night, everyone.